Moving to a new country for university is supposed to be one of the most exciting times of your life. But if we're being honest, your mind is probably a frantic mess of questions right now. Do I have the right paperwork? What if I can't find an apartment? What am I forgetting? It feels like a mountain of unknowns. And here's the scary part. Getting just one of these things wrong could mean a delayed visa, losing a huge chunk of money to a housing scam, or spending your first week in a new country totally stressed out instead of excited. The stakes are definitely high. But it doesn't have to be like that. In this video, we're giving you the ultimate pre-move checklist that we wish we had as international students. Follow these steps, and you can pack your bags with total confidence.
Hey everyone, I'm Adam.
And I'm Jessica. As former international students, we've been exactly where you are right now. We know that feeling, that mix of pure excitement and paralyzing anxiety, staring at a to-do list that feels a million miles long. We've made the mistake so you don't have to.
That's right. We've wrestled with confusing visa websites, scrolled through questionable apartment listings, and had that moment of panic trying to figure out how money works in a new place. We've poured all of that experience into this guide.
Today, we're breaking it all down into 4 essential areas you need to handle before you even think about zipping up that suitcase. We're talking about documents, finances, housing, and getting connected. This is your game plan for a smooth move. So, grab a notebook and let's jump in.
Okay, first up, and this is the big one. Let's build your document fortress. These are the non-negotiable papers and files that are your golden ticket to a new life. Getting this wrong just isn't an option. Point number 1, passport and visa. Seems obvious, right? But the devil is in the details. It's not enough to just have a passport. Check its expiration date. A lot of countries have a rule that your passport needs to be valid for at least 6 months from when you enter. However, this rule varies. Some want it valid for your whole stay. Others have different rules. Don't guess. Look up the official immigration rules for your specific destination country and check your passport right now. We'll wait.
He's not kidding. And your visa, that sticker in your passport, is the permission slip for your entire adventure. But it's not just a sticker. It's proof that you've met all the tough requirements to study there. You need to understand your visa type, whether it's an F1 for the US, or a student visa for the UK or Australia, and know its rules. Can you work part-time? Can you travel outside the country? These details really matter.
And here's the most critical advice. Make copies. Then make more copies. Have at least 2 high-quality color photocopies of your passport's photo page and your visa. Keep them in a separate bag from the real thing. Then scan them and save them to your email, Google Drive, Dropbox. Get them in the cloud so you can access them from anywhere. I had a friend whose bag with his passport was stolen 2 days after he landed. His digital copies saved him from a full-blown diplomatic meltdown. It turned a catastrophe into just a huge pain. You absolutely need physical and digital backups.
Totally. That brings us to point number 2, your university acceptance and enrollment letters. You will show these documents more times than you can possibly imagine. An immigration officer at the border will want to see it. Your university needs it to register you. You might even need it to open a bank account.
The document has a different name everywhere you go. In the United States, it's the Form I-20. That's the Holy Grail. In the UK, it's the Confirmation of Acceptance for Studies, or CAS. Australia has the Confirmation of Enrollment, or COE. Whatever it's called, it's essential. Just like your passport, the originals go in your carry-on luggage, never in your checked bags. And yes, you need digital copies saved everywhere.
Exactly. Now for point number 3 in your document fortress, financial proof. This makes so many students anxious, but it's all about being prepared. Remember those documents you used for your visa to prove you had enough money for tuition and living costs. Don't just file them away, bring them. This could be official bank statements, a scholarship letter, or a letter from a sponsor.
The key is that these documents should be recent. A border officer might ask for proof that you still have access to those funds when you arrive. It's their way of making sure you can support yourself. It feels a bit invasive, but it's a standard part of the process. Having those updated documents in your folder is instant confidence.
Okay, document fortress built. Now, let's get your financial launchpad ready. Money is the fuel for your first few weeks, and getting this right will save you so much stress. Point number 4 is all about banking. How are you going to pay for things? Just using your bank from home can be a nightmare of international fees, blocked cards, and awful exchange rates. You need a local account, and you have two main options. Open one before you go, or open one when you get there.
Many big banks, especially in places like the UK and Australia, now let international students start the application online from their home country. This is an amazing option. It means you can transfer money into it before you even leave. Then when you arrive, you just pop into a branch with your passport and proof of address to activate the account and grab your debit card.
But what if you can't? Which is pretty common for students headed to the US. No problem. You'll just open it when you land. But that means you need to do your research now. Look up the major banks near your campus and compare their student accounts. You want one with zero fees. Make a list of the documents they'll need. Usually, it's your passport, student visa, enrollment letter, and proof of address. That last one can be tricky, but a letter from your university housing office usually does the trick.
And here's a massive pro tip for that in-between time. Look into digital banks or fintech apps like Wise or Revolut. They are brilliant for holding different currencies and moving money internationally, way cheaper than old-school banks. You can load money from your home account and use their debit card the second you land, perfectly bridging the gap until your local bank account is up and running.
Which leads perfectly into point number 5. Your first month's budget and access to cash. The first 30 days are almost always the most expensive. You're hit with one-time costs like a security deposit on an apartment, first month's rent, Wi-Fi setup fees, and that moment you realize you need to buy a real winter coat.
You have to sit down and be realistic about this. Research average rent, estimate grocery costs, and then add a big buffer for those setup costs. Having access to somewhere between $2,000 to $4,000 for that first month is a decent guideline for many cities, but this is just a starting point. If you're moving to a super high-cost city like New York, London, or Sydney, your upfront housing costs alone could be much higher, so you have to research your specific city.
And let's talk about cash. You should absolutely not show up with thousands of dollars in your pocket. That's a huge risk. But you also shouldn't show up with zero. We recommend having enough local currency for the first 48 to 72 hours, enough for a taxi from the airport, a few meals, and any small things you need before you find an ATM. A couple $100 worth should do it.
And please, for the love of all that is holy, do this one thing. Call your bank at home before you leave. Tell them your travel dates and where you're going. If you don't, their computers will see a random charge from a new country, assume your card's been stolen, and block it. It happens constantly, and it's a nightmare to fix from abroad. A 5-minute phone call will save you. All right, you have your papers and a money plan. Now, where are you going to live? Section 3 is about securing your first home, and this is where you need to be proactive and super careful. This brings us to point 6, the temporary versus permanent debate. You need a housing strategy. Are you going to lock in a long-term rental from home? Or book a temporary spot for a few weeks and find a place once you're on the ground?
Booking from abroad gives you amazing peace of mind, but only if you do it safely. Securing a room in university managed housing or official dorms is almost always the safest bet. You're dealing with the university, the contracts are standard, and you have a guaranteed place to land. If you can get this, take it.
But if you're looking at the private rental market, booking an apartment for a year that you've only seen in photos is incredibly risky. The pictures can be 10 years old, the location might be sketchy, and you could be walking straight into a scam. The smart move here is booking temporary housing, like a hostel or an Airbnb for 2 to 4 weeks. This gives you a landing pad so you can visit apartments in person, meet the landlords, and get a feel for the neighborhood before you sign a lease. It's a hassle to move twice, but it could save you thousands of dollars and a year of misery.
And that risk of scams is very real, which brings us to point number 7, knowing the red flags for housing scams. International students are a top target because scammers know you're in a rush and can't just pop over to see the place. Be skeptical.
First big red flag. A landlord pressuring you to pay a big deposit before you've seen the place or signed a real contract. They create fake urgency saying, 5 other people want it, you have to pay now. Don't fall for it. Slow down.
Second, watch out for the landlord who is conveniently out of the country. They'll spin a tale about how they had to leave suddenly and can't show you the apartment, but they'll mail you the keys as soon as you transfer the deposit. Their emails are often full of weird grammar, and they will always refuse to do a live video call walkthrough. In today's world, there is zero excuse for not being able to do a video tour. If they refuse, it's a scam. Walk away.
Third, if a deal looks way too good to be true, it is. A beautiful, huge apartment right in the city center for half the going rate. That apartment doesn't exist. Scammers use these fake deals as bait. Use a site like Numbeo or local rental websites to learn the actual average rent in your city. It's the fastest way to spot a fake.
Finally, be suspicious about how they want you to pay. Scammers ask for untraceable methods like Western Union, cryptocurrency, or gift cards. Legitimate landlords use bank transfers or secure online platforms after a contract is signed. And a quick pro tip: do a reverse image search on the apartment photos. Scammers steal pictures from other websites. If the same photos show up for an apartment in a different city, you've caught one.
Okay, that was a lot of heavy info. And we're only about halfway through. We get that this is stressful, but if this checklist is helping, and maybe easing a little bit of that anxiety, could you do us a quick favor and hit that like button? It really helps our channel and tells us you want more practical guides just like this one. Now, let's get you connected.
Welcome back. You have your documents, your money, and your housing strategy. Now let's talk about being a connected and healthy student from day one. These are your personal lifelines. Point number 8 is health insurance and vaccinations. This is not optional. For most countries, having the right health insurance is a mandatory part of your visa. For example, to study in Australia, virtually all international students must have Overseas Student Health Cover, or OSHC. In the UK, you'll pay an immigration health surcharge, which gives you access to the National Health Service.
And in the US, universities require that all students have health insurance. Most will automatically enroll you in the school's plan. Some schools might let you waive their plan if you can prove you have other insurance, but they have very strict requirements that most plans from back home won't meet. The bottom line is you need to budget for the required insurance plan. Read the policy carefully to see what it covers, and more importantly, what it doesn't, like dental and vision. Medical care can be shockingly expensive without proper coverage.
And alongside insurance, check your destination country's vaccination requirements. Your university might have its own list, too. See your doctor well before you leave to get any required shots, and get an official, translated copy of your vaccination records to bring with you.
Now for your other lifeline. Point number 9. Unlocking your phone and getting a local SIM. Your phone is your map, translator, and connection to everyone you know. You need it working the second you land. The most important step happens before you leave. Make sure your phone is unlocked, meaning it's not tied to your mobile carrier at home. You may need to call your current provider and ask them to unlock it for international use. Do this a few weeks early because it can take time. If it's locked, a new SIM card just won't work.
When you land, you'll probably see SIM card kiosks at the airport. They're convenient, but the plans can be more expensive tourist plans. It's a fine option if you're in a pinch, but there are better ways.
A fantastic modern option is the eSIM, a digital SIM you can download. Companies like Airalo or Holafly let you buy and install a data plan for your destination before you even leave home. This means the second you turn off airplane mode, you have data. You can call a ride, check Google Maps, and text your family that you've arrived safely. It is an amazing tool for a stress-free arrival.
Then, for your long-term plan, you can go to a provider's store in the city after a day or two. There, you can compare plans from the major carriers and get the best value. You'll usually need your passport and proof of your new address to sign up. The eSIM just gives you the breathing room to do that without rushing. And before we go, here's a huge bonus tip so many students forget. Register with your home country's embassy or consulate when you arrive. It's usually a simple online form. It means your government knows where you are and can contact you in an emergency. It's a simple step that adds a massive layer of security.
So that's it, our ultimate pre-move checklist. We covered the document fortress, your financial launchpad, the plan for finding a home while dodging scams, and getting connected. We know this whole process feels huge and overwhelming. But by tackling these things one by one, you can turn that mountain of chaos into a clear, manageable plan.
We really hope this guide was helpful, but we know everyone's journey is different. So, what's your biggest question about moving? What's the one thing that's still keeping you up at night? Drop it in the comments below. We read every single one, and we'll do our best to help. And if you want to know what to do in the first 30 days after you land, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because that's our next video. You've got this. Have an amazing journey.